Hi, Virgo rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 16th of March until the 23rd of March. So, this might be a super big week for you because you are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is making two passes on North Node. One is in direct motion, and the first one is going to be in retrograde motion. So, this is a little bit of a personal audit, but it comes with quite a high speed. Mercury has met the North Node once already, and two of the meeting points are going to be happening this week. All it happens in your seventh house, which is the house of partnership. And also you've got quite an activation of your eighth house, which is about shared resources as well as intimacy. So it feels like that you are going to be receiving a fated message through a partner or about a contractual agreement, but you've got this super great reset happening in your eighth house. And that's about massive transformation in your finances, shared assets, deep psychological connections, and even relationship as well. So your ruling planet Mercury, is pretty much the main character in all of these celestial drama that is happening right now in your chart. This is somehow a fated redirection in your relationship house. And it might be an indication that, you start seeing, for example, that changes have to be made in how you connect with others, for example. This is about moving from a state of review to a state of re-anchoring your own power, re-anchoring your own state, for example, in a partnership. This is not about analyzing your life anymore. This is about laying down the foundations for a completely new structure. So, of course, Mercury, being in the seventh house alongside with the North Node, is dealing with some serious committed partnership matters, and let it be a spouse or a business partner or even certain type of public adversaries. But you need to be thinking back to mid-February, like maybe you had a critical discussion with a partner or you received a business contract, and all this might have gone a little bit quiet. We just started the topic at that time, but now it's about a bit of review and maybe sitting down and then laying down the concrete plan. It returns to you somehow, but maybe with a fated twist. So you might receive a message from the ex that changes your perspective, or a former business collaborator proposes a new venture to you. This isn't necessarily an old contact. It's more of a karmic rewrite of your own relationship departments. Maybe you are being asked to face the truth as well in your partnership before you can move forward. Maybe you decided I want to completely move forward and I'm ready to, for example, separate from someone. So that's even a possibility as well. Also, the sun is highlighting your seventh house this week, making a sextile to Uranus, but also Venus is squaring Jupiter as well at the same time. So I can imagine that maybe it's a very sudden collaborative project, something that you might want to launch internationally, or it gives you the opportunity to reach a wider audience. You might even being part of kind of like a legal matter as well. Maybe a contractual agreement needs to be sorted, and then you're going to have to be talking to a lawyer, for example. But it feels like an unconventional solution that might be coming straight to you. And that gives you a different intellectual focus or intellectual perspective on these matters. You might want to be a little bit careful or of overspending, for example, like taking your friends out for a drink and so forth, because Venus Jupiter square might be boosting your, kind of like generosity. Venus rules your second house, and Jupiter is in the 11th, and those are something to do with your friends. But I also can imagine that we might be over-promising something, for example, to an organization, or we end up celebrating with friends. So that's why you're going to have to be able to maintain your financial boundaries. Also, Isis and Apollo entering your 11th house as well, and that's the restoration of your tribe. So Apollo shines a light on your true social alignment, and Isis helps you reassemble your community connections. So maybe because we have gone through a period of feeling socially scattered, for example, or misaligned, and then it can bring back important people back into your life to kind of like reassemble those connections. But also it can indicate that you are returning to a old project of yours that you might have abandoned. And it might be something creative, for example. Even Eros enters your 11th house as well this week, and Eros is about passion. So maybe you are very passionate about, excited about a collaborative vision or a project or a goal of yours. You might be very passionate about a shared dream with others, something that you have been building behind closed doors. And you might even be very passionate about working together with a team, and then you might be inspiring that inner fire within them. Um, I also would say that Jupiter in your 11th house gets activated as well by Mars. It's a trine, basically. And this is kind of a power day. You know, Mars is in your relationship sector and Jupiter is in the community sector of your chart. So it's kind of like working together with someone and then let's win. So maybe if you have been waiting to launch a partnership project, like a podcast, a joint venture, or you want to make a wedding announcement, I would do it that day. The action, which is Mars, is very supported now by this kind of like social luck, and that's Jupiter. It's something that you don't necessarily have to push. This support is just simply coming in. You get a phone call and so on. I would also mention that we have got the triple conjunction happening, with Mercury, North Node, and the Mars within about 3 days from each other. So that is also very supportive here. It's also a kind of like a collective win as well at the same time. So, uh, like a mutual benefit. Imagine that you have been looking for the perfect business partner, and then you find it, and then we mutually benefit from each other. Or maybe you're ready to announce a relationship to your community, for example. So somehow there is shared victory coming with this. Now, the sun moves into your eighth house, and straight away it's going to be making conjunction to Neptune and Saturn. And that's what I would call as a great reset. This is a massive turning point. It's about having to recognize your own power and utilizing your resources and other people's resources as well at the same time. This is about figuring out your own strength as well as your secret and psychological makeup at the same time. So maybe you are ready to merge your finances with someone, and then we are ready to go towards a business project. Of course, Saturn wants us to have a structured plan, while Neptune represents our dreams. And of course, we're going to have to be able to commit to it. This is about hard work that actually financially can pay off later on. So maybe this is about certain type of investments, or we are ready to formalize a trust or a will, or we are ready to finalize an emotional commitment, but somehow that's going to be defining your destiny. Remember, Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries hasn't happened for a very long time. We're talking about thousands of years in the sign of Aries together. So, of course, the sun is highlighting a new 36-year cycle for you. So, this is about you having to find your own power, and you're going to have to create this blueprint. What am I going to do with this newly found power? And, Mercury is finishing off the week again, being on the North Node this week, while Juno is in your fifth house and then making a trine to Uranus in your ninth house. So, again, that's a relationship activation there. If you have been single, actually, you can run into someone who is going to be changing your perspective on the world. You might even ready to relocate in the future. Juno is very committed right now. Maybe it's an artistic commitment, maybe it's a child-related agreement, maybe it's a relationship agreement. something that might be helping you to pursue a creative passion of yours. Somehow here your heart is aligning now with some strategic growth. So I think you have been doing a lot of auditing the last few months, auditing of your relationships, friendships, romantic connections, business partnerships, and so forth. But now you need to be ready to actually claim your transformative power, your transformative authority. This is about having to conquer some of your own fears, potentially about intimacy or making connections to others. So I really like this aspect for you, but I would like to also remind you that it's important to listen to the general forecast as well. I know it's a good 42 minutes, but I give you degree details there. You need to be checking out if you have got any planets on those degrees, because that's going to become the most important planetary alignment of the week for you. I think you might be thinking about freedom as well, or you might be at a crossroad in your life where you have to be making a choice. Like, do I want to get married? Do I not want to get married? Do I want to leave this work behind, or do I want to move? Or I'm going to stay basically. I think there might be some unexpected changes happening in your life, but that is opening up new doors for you. It really feels like that you are taking a new direction, and that might be a new contract because Mercury is the ruler of your 10th house as well. But it feels like, though, with Mercury in the 7th house, that you have to make compromises. You have to be sacrificing something. So maybe that's the reason why you are at a crossroad and then weighing your options. Sitting on the fences and just thinking about the right course of action sometimes is super great, but sometimes it might be just an out of fear matter. And maybe this is what the sun would like to highlight for you in the eighth house connected to Saturn and Neptune. We just have to have the vision and we're going to have to be able to go after it. I would also say that with Mars and Jupiter trine this week, you can become a lot more kind of like successful as well as a lot more popular to others. So if you are single, this might be the week when you should be going out, for example. Or this is the week when you should be handing in your CV to companies, because Jupiter and Mars are about daring. So you have to dare, you have to be brave enough in a way to go after your own dreams, after your own long-term goals, basically. Yes, if you are in a relationship, this is a little bit more about nurturing the connections, placing yourself in other people's shoes, and maybe working on intimate department as well. Remember, the Saturn is in your eighth house, which is the ruler of your fifth. So it disposes Juno there. So we have to be committing to a little bit of a fun, for example, in an existing partnership. This is also about appreciation as well. So I'm going to support you in your own vision, but I'm expecting you to support me in mine too. And maybe that's what Mercury and North Node, Mars triple conjunction would like us to do, to kind of sit down a little bit and then go towards something like making an agreement, finalizing an agreement, something that potentially we have spoken already about back in mid-February. So good luck, Virgo, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.